Duty. Some domination.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom, can you take up trash?
Yeah, sure, Mom. We'll do it in a second.
Hey, Tom. Tom?
Yeah,
Tom?
yep.
Can you
Yeah.
take Zoe up for a walk, please?
Mm-hmm. Oh, double kill. Nice.
Hey, Tom. I really need you to drive Pete to the train station. Can you do that for me, please?
Yeah, sure.
Tom, have you finished your last merit badge?
Tom begins to wonder of a far and distant world where there are many copies of himself. Hence, a clone world where only Tom Soapers exist.
Oh, wow. All these versions of me, I could do so many things. I should expand my tie-dye business.
Dude, I'll get the shirts, bro. I'll get the dyes.
I'll get the basins, dude.
I'll take care of sales and marketing. Awesome, good one, man. Yeah, let's
nice.
do it. Let's
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Let's make some tie-dyes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, check this out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're just cranking them out.
Anything's made for light work. Tie-dyes for sale here. Tie-dyes for sale. Tie-dyes. Oh, yeah. This is
Wow. All that hard work, we just cranked out so many tie-dyes. You know, my motto is always work hard, play hard, though. How about you guys want to have a dance party?
Oh, yeah.
I'm drowning!
Oh,
I'm drowning!
damsel in distress!
I need a lifeguard!
I'm a lifeguard. I'm a lifeguard. I'm a lifeguard too. Give me a minute.
Hey,
I'm a lifeguard. Reach. Never mind. I'm certified. I could have saved her. I could have gotten a medal or put my uniform for that. I could have saved
Man,
her.
you guys totally blew it.
You blew it. You blew it, Tom.
What?
Come on. Gee.
Ooh. Hey, I like your shoes.
I like them too.
Hey, I like your jeans.
Whoa.
Hey.
Hey.
My name's Tom. Hey, I'm going to college. My name's Tom too. Hey, my name's Tom. It's cool tie-dye shirts. Hey, I'm the best Call of Duty player on the East Coast. I killed 30 people and only died twice last night.
There's just too many Toms. I don't want any of them. I'm out of here.
Oh, dude, Tom, you ruined it. She's gonna play. Tom.
You guys are messing up my
She was
game.
gonna go out. We're messing up my game.
You guys
Messing up my
I
game.
want to talk to some ladies here. Come on.
Oh, man. We gotta work as a team. Yeah, we do have to work as a
It's only
team.
that citizenship in the community merit.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah, we need it too. Me too. Wait, last one.
Sign up here for citizenship in the community merit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I had to sign up. Name Tom Soper, last merit badge.
Tom Soper. Oh yeah, last merit badge.
Tom Soper, buy my tie-dyes. Oh, wait, there's one line left. Tom Soper, my version. Wait. That means there's no room left in the merit badge class for you to get your eagle. And you
Same.
turn 18 next week. But we're getting our eagle! Oh, yeah! Eagle, 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 eagle.
I'm the Tom Soper, yes, I'm the real Soper. All the other Tom Sopers are just imitating, so the real Tom Soper, please stand up. Put your scout sign up. Wow, I guess I was just dreaming that whole time.
Tom Soper is now back in his own living room.
I guess I was just dreaming that whole time. Wow, I guess I was awake though. Man, I didn't even die once while I was playing Call of Duty. Wow. I need to work on my merit badge. I'm gonna get citizenship in the community and I'm gonna get Eagle. Eagle!
How did did you have time to think, any of you?
It's not time yet.
It's not time yet. No matter how many times you write edits down on it, you just never get it right.
If I were not a Thomas, something I would be. If I were not a Thomas,
A fire porter I would be. Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire. Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire.
if I were not a Thomas, something I would be. If I were not a Thomas, a ladies' man I would be. Girl in each arm, can't do any harm. Girl in each arm, can't do any harm.
Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire. Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire.
If I were not a Thomas, something I would be. If I were not a Thomas, a lifeguard I would be. Mouth to mouth resuscitate, the best way to get a date. Mouth to mouth resuscitate, the best way to get a date.
A girl in each arm can't do any harm.
A girl in each arm
can't do any harm.
A
Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire. Whirl it, twirl it, ah, my hair's on fire.
If I were not a Thomas, something I would be. If I were not a Thomas, a soaper I would be. 2 brothers, a sister, 2 more brothers. A brother, a sister, 3 more brothers. Mouth to mouth, 3 brothers, a sister, 1 more brother. Mouth to brothers, a sister, 2 more brothers. 1 brother, a girl in each arm, 2 more brothers. 2 brothers, a girl in each arm, 2 more brothers. 1 brother, 2 brothers, 4 more brothers. 6 brothers.
Wait a second, wait a second. Why don't I just do it all?
Anybody has something to say? All right, well, I'll start then. I've been thinking a lot the past couple of nights of what I could roast Tom on, and you know, there was this one time where we tend a lot over the years. I've been friends with Tom for my whole life. I went to Cub Scouts with him and into Boy Scouts and Troop 99.
Preschool.
Preschool here. So we've always tended together, and we were on a kayak trip, and I think we were in Maine at the time, or Massachusetts at the time, and we were on the way up to going kayaking, and it's late at night, and we're getting ready to go to sleep. I go outside for a minute, I leave the tent flap open, end up talking to Mr. Lair, so it's a little longer than a minute. I come back, I see just little specks just as I peer in. Tom's sitting here slapping his arms, slapping his legs, like trying to get all these mosquitoes out. You should have seen the rest of the week. Like, yeah, I'm not good at roasting, as I've said. But in all seriousness, Tom, like, you really are my oldest friend, and going through scouting with you over all these years has been a real blast. I'm glad I could share it with you. If you have something to say. Dude, you're
Going once.
Going twice. Blows my mind. Okay.
Yeah! I can only one.
Well, as you all know, Tom is quite an athlete, and I've known him for quite a while. And 3 years that we attended high school together, we were on the swim team. And I thought it was funny because every day during practice, you know, Tom would go so hard, like everything he does, every sport, he's just, you know, pushing stuff to the limits. So, you know, one day, like every day of practice, I would see him, you know, get out of the pool, go to the bathroom, come back, like at least twice during practice sometimes. One day, I got out of the pool during practice, followed him in, I was like, what are you doing in here? He was like, oh man, I was just swimming so hard, I had to come in and throw up.
The same trip that Mike mentioned, sea kayaking up off the coast of Maine. Tom, being the youngest of the Soper brothers, he had to have a little bit more persistence to kind of fight his way, you know, through the family that was up there in front of him. You know, he's the last one coming along, so he had to have a little bit more tenacity, I think, in some ways. And it showed on that trip. I think it was the third or fourth day into the trip. We were kind of paddling our way through the fog near, I think it was Jonesport, Maine, if you want to check out where that is. Way up on the coast, about an hour north of Bar Harbor. The water is incredibly cold. It was July, but it was incredibly cold. It was like ice cubes. And Tom and his good friend Adam Brown, for some reason, stuck their hand in the water at about the same time and instantly had a competition going on. Who could keep their hand, their arm in the water longer? It went on and on. The grimaces on their face got harder and stronger. And after about 2.5 minutes or so, you know, the other person in the boat paddling away, come on guys, paddle, you know, no, we're gonna win. They both pulled it out at the same time, except Tom was about a half a second later than Adam. So he hung in there and he did it, and it was the stupidest thing. Congratulations.
I know everyone in my family's thinking about this story, but probably didn't want to tell it. It's a very old story. So there's actually a pretty big age variety in our family. Between me and Thomas is 11 years. So I was basically a new scout when he was born. And so so my mom had given birth to Thomas, and so he's a newborn, and we hadn't, been there obviously. So we had to go get introduced to him. So we all go in there. They bring out this this little naked newborn. Everyone crowds around, and his first way of saying hello is he pees all over everybody. He just lets this vicious streamless and just hoses the entire crowd down.
Tim, not everybody was thinking about it.
I'm just going to talk from here, but I just wanted to tell you that I've known Thomas since we were in Cub Scouts together, and he was in my den, and we had such a good time, but Thomas was always on the run, moving around. Ross had talked about swimming. I remember at the Henson, Tom would be at camp, and then he was going to go to a swim meet, and then he was always off bouncing everywhere around. But the thing I remember the most is when we had a party one night, and I remember giving yo-yos out as one of the gifts, and I've come to find out later that Thomas went on to win one of the yo-yo competitions at, I forget which summer camp, but was it Camp Peru? Okay, yeah. There's a lot that I remember. I remember them playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon in the tents at Cub Scout camp, and swimming from vines, so they were always into something and having a great time. And I always have the good memories from all the guys that stayed with the troop and came up through the ranks. But Thomas, thank you for those memories. Yeah.
My more fond memory, my first one from Tom, was I was on my first summer camp in Cub Scouts with him, and we had just come back from a swimming activity, and Tom had a cup of water in his hand, and I believe Mrs. Soper asked him what was in it, and he said, a clam. And it was the first day of summer camp, and she said, I think she asked him what he was going to do with it, and he said, I'm just going to keep it. And I think that cup sat there for the whole week, and by the end of the week, it was pitch black, and it stank.
It was his environmental science start to his marriage.
Anybody else? All right. I'd like to.
Scare them away.
One of the first campouts that I ever had with Tom Soper, he was talking about this new coat that he had. It was a Monkey Man. One of the first days he walks out and he's just rubbing his arm and saying, "Guys, it's so soft. You gotta feel this. It's like fur." And I just remember that because it just showed his comic sense.
I think it's safe now.
All right. Mr. Stiles, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Well, he touched on Thomas's comic sense. He does have the Soper sense of humor, which you've experienced tonight, and we've enjoyed for numerous years. When I first met Thomas, he was about that big. It was at a PAC meeting. I think must have been around 89, 90, something like that.
Well, he's born in 91.
90.
So.
He was coming back earlier than that.
Thomas spent 7 years in the troop, in Troop 99, and we did an awful lot of camping. Mr. Ziff mentioned earlier about the Brandywine Creek State Park campout. It's one of the earlier campouts that Thomas went on, and usually when boys cross over into the troop, the ones that are most concerned about how they're going to make out on a winter campout are the mothers. That was a tough one to go out and really get winter experience. I see a number of guys in the room that were on that same campout, and I think Mr. Ziff was a little generous when he said it got up to 20, because that was a very cold campout. To give you an example of just how cold it was, they got up Sunday morning and I think they were making pancakes, and they went to break the egg into the bowl, and the egg just kind of fell in whole and just kind of sat there. So they said, "How do we do this?" And I said, "Well, get yourself some hot water and put your eggs down in the hot water to thaw them." So they did that, and they cracked the eggs, and they mixed the batter up, and they poured their first batch of pancakes on the griddle, and they flipped them, and they took them off, and then they went to pour the next batch, and of course it was frozen and wasn't going. So they really were challenged on that. But we've done many campouts, Tom and I, through the years. Lots and lots of weekend campouts, summer camp, many summer camps, and also C&O Canal bike trip, which is a 185-mile bike trip we did. Film, of course, Philmont. So camping has been a big part of Tom's scouting career, and I would assume he will continue to camp and get outdoors as often as possible. Of course, you know that Tom comes from a rather large family and a very strong scouting family. As a matter of fact, they were honored, was it last year or the year before? Last year, as the Scouting Family of the Year for the Freedom Trail District at the time. And so there's a great legacy within the troop. And I guess it was just before your 18th birthday, which was what, November 19th? 22nd. That last troop meeting, I asked him to come forward, and I announced to the troop that it was his last night as a youth in Boy Scouts of America. And Mrs. Soper happened to be here as well, so I made a point to acknowledge that as of that, at that point, they were involved with scouting with either PAC 99 or Troop 99 for 20 years. So it's like I said, it's been a great legacy. And They produced 5 Eagle Scouts, Thomas being the youngest of the boys. And there was tremendous support, not only from Mom and Dad, but as you older guys left scouting, you supported the younger guys, getting them through to Eagle, encouraging them, Thomas and Peter and Don B, and going backwards here to Tim and Chris. So I just want to say what a great honor it's been to be Thomas's Scoutmaster, to know the quality of young man that he is and his brothers, and the impact that they'll have going forward on our future generations. So, Thomas, thank you so much for the time.
I forgot to mention, I got a tremendous amount of help from Mrs. Jones for my Eagle project, and I really never would have been able to finish my Eagle project without her help. Thought I should mention that. These flowers are for Mrs. Jones.
Please rise for the retiring of the colors. Please sit down.
Appreciate your perseverance here. My last opportunity to address the troop or a subset of it. I'm a little bit appreciative of the choir here, but maybe it'll be useful a little later in the year when you have new parents coming in. So, thank you very much for attending Tom's Eagle ceremony. It's difficult to believe that Christopher crossed over 21 years ago to start his path to Eagle, and then with his brothers following behind. It's been quite a journey. I think we were fated to join PAC and then Troop 99 because there was no Cub Scout PAC at St. Helens, which is our home church at the time. And ever since that, we've just been part of the Peter pattern for the troop. And the PAC and the troop have really been very, very good for our sons. We like to think that we've done our part in return to help the troop continue its tradition of excellence, although we can't hold a candle to people like Mr. Stiles, Mr. Lair, and Mr. Zip, not to mention Lord Baden-Powell, I mean Mr. Meter. And reflecting on this experience and the recent 70th anniversary dinner, we can think that excellence is inevitable, and it really isn't. I want to urge all the parents, and maybe you can use this spiel in the parent meeting in the fall, but all the parents with boys in the troop to help out wherever and whenever you can. The active adults, whether they're uniformed or not, are critical to enabling Troop 99 to be a boy-run troop. Volunteer service by adults is a powerful tool for teaching the values of service to our children, and volunteerism is dropping nationwide. We really need to be a good example to our children in that regard. And we certainly hope that today's parents and future parents do their part so that Troop 99 will still be outstanding in 2025 and beyond. Who knows, you might even have a grandson in the troop by then. We're not holding our breath. Okay, of course, there would never be a troop without the Scouts. And I want to thank all current and former Scouts of PAC and Troop 99 who have made this last 20 years so memorable for our sons and for us. I'd also like to encourage all you Scouts who are on the way to Eagle on the path yourselves. And I want to encourage your parents. You can do it, and there's plenty of help available if you set your mind to it. Perseverance is key, although it's very helpful to also know when you're going to turn 18. If Tom gives us his thanks, you certainly want to add our voices to his. We've met and received help from so many outstanding people, it would be impossible to name them all, although Tom did give it a good shot. We certainly want to thank the Presbyterian Church of the Covenant for hosting the troop. If they hadn't done, it's hard to imagine what the troop would be. And of course, they hosted the Eagle ceremony too. I want to say a special thank you to the troop committee. There are few jobs as selfless as that of committee chairman, and I think Mr. Rowe and Mr. Ziff have been outstanding examples of how to do that job and really done a wonderful job for this troop over a very long period of time. Kudos to Mrs. Diebold for greatly improving the troop record keeping. I know she did improve it because I had the job before I gave it to her. Mr. Hammond, who actually knows something about accounting, was a big help when I was treasurer. And thanks to Mr. Shue for taking over the job so I could leave the committee. I also want to, of course, thank all the uniformed leaders. Troop 99 has been blessed with consistently excellent scoutmasters and especially assistant scoutmasters. Just a lot of very capable adult leaders around all the time. And I wanted to especially mention Mr. Roman, Mr. Stiles, Mr. Lair, Mr. Brennan, and Mr. Rominger. So mom's got to talk too. It's going to be a mom talk, not a dad talk. But I want to thank you for coming today. Thank you for your support of Scouting and Troop 99. And we hope that all the parents who have Scouts now will do what they can to make so the troop will have as much to celebrate on its 80th anniversary as it did on its 70th. Thank you.
Well, I sort of have to read mine because I'm not used to getting speeches. Anyway, thank you all for coming. We really do appreciate it. 24 years ago, we came to Wilmington, Delaware, and we could hardly find a house available to buy. There were so few houses on the market. We had never been here before. We had 3 or 4 days to find a house and make up our minds what we wanted to do and pick one out and buy it. Chris was 8, Tim was 5.5, Andrew was 3.5, and Peter was barely a year old. Liz and Tom weren't even born yet. And the first person I met was Mary Ann Champion, who was director of preschool here. And this church, this preschool, was our first, all the first people I ever met in Delaware were right here in this church, in this room. I am so thankful that we chose our little house in Bellefonte. It's never been big enough. There were bigger houses we could have bought elsewhere, but for some reason, something just led us here. And we bought this little house, and we've been here ever since. It was the only house in North Wilmington we even considered buying. Otherwise, we might never have met any of you, and you, of course, are our wonderful Troop 99 family. I consider all of you my brothers and sisters from the troop. You're my closest friends on this earth. I thank you so much. I just want to mention that Tom has actually been coming to Scouts his whole life. Back when Andrew was a wolf, Paul Nicholson and I were leaders in room 5. We were wolf den leaders. And Al had a den, a wolf den over here in room 1. And I think, Suzanne, you had a den at the same time, too. But anyway, yeah, it was Paul Nicholson who announced to my little wolf den that I was expecting Tom. My Andrew didn't even know about it yet. And he just sat there with his mouth hanging open like, what? So it was quite a surprise when Paul made that announcement. So once Tom was actually here, he started coming to the meetings. And he even went camping. He even went to Rodney. He had his own little uniform. It wasn't an official uniform, of course, because he was pretty small, but I saw the little epaulets on the sides, and he had a little 99 on the sleeve, and he wore it all the time, and he was very, very happy. We all know he wasn't weaned for a long, long time. That's one reason why he had this permission to do all this camping, but that's okay. But even still, I want to commend Tom for persevering and making it to Eagle. Just because his brothers were all Eagle Scouts didn't mean that Tom was necessarily going to be an Eagle. It was sort of a lot of pressure on this kid, though, to be following these 4 older brothers. He's been the lone soper in the troop for quite a while, and unlike his brothers overlapped by years because they were born every 2 years. So Chris came along and he was the first one, but then like a year or 2 later, then Tim came on board. At one point, we had 3 soapers in the Boy Scout troop. And then Chris graduated, and then Pete came over, and there were again 3 soapers. And then there were 2, and then when he first crossed over, Pete was still in the troop, but for 1 month. And then this whole time, these 7 years, he's been the only one. So, you know, it was quite an act to follow with 4 older brothers all being Eagle Scouts. So just for the record, I want to say we are very proud of you. Because you made it.
Yeah. We'll get that
But once again, also, I'd like to thank all the adult leadership of Troop 99 for all of your time and your energy and your dedication to Scouting. You have helped make my children who they are today without any question. As you all know, we have no family here. We've always just relied on you, and you've always been there for us, and I truly appreciate it. I'm so proud of all 6 of my children. I mean, even my daughter has benefited. No, I mean, even my daughter has benefited from scouting. All 6 of them worked at Camp Rodney. Even she did, so she's part of the Rodney family as well. But I'm just so proud of all 6 of them for becoming the wonderful human beings that they are. And that's the bottom line. They're all great people. I love them all. But thank you so much. And so I just wanted you all to know that you are getting, we couldn't have done it without you award. You all get one of these awards. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for all you've given my family.
Please rise for the retiring of the colors.
Wait. We're doing something else.
Scout salute or hand over our heart. Color guard, retire the colors. This concludes our ceremony this afternoon. On behalf of the Sober family, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Everyone is welcome to stay for refreshments located in the back.